Nathan, this summer you've been to Dubai, Mauritius, Glastonbury, but here at the Brache is probably where you'd much rather be, back on the bike.
Yeah, sort of this where I feel more comfortable at, and as I said, it's been a really hectic summer with everything. It was nice obviously to get away, but that was spent the majority of the time on the phone, if I'm honest. But look, it's been a good summer in terms of everything that was needed, because obviously to get certain things from last year out of our system and to reflect on certain things. But no, now we're back and we're ready to go.
How pleased have you been with how the players have returned? In tip-top shape?
I've been very pleased. I expected that, because I know that they're a group that was hurting after the end of the season, and we had that meeting at the end of the season after the Blackpool game, and look, we said we wanted certain things from them this year, and especially to come back and hit the ground. And look, they're a great group, and they came back flying. The new ones we brought in also were at a real good level, so it's about holding them back more than anything.
And it's such a short break, wasn't it? I think it was 41 days between the Blackpool game and the players returning last Wednesday. I mean, that's the knock-on effect of being in the playoffs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I said it's important we look after the players and stuff, because I said they've had a shorter break as such, probably a week less than you would have, than is ideal. But we'll make sure we look after them. We'll build them up slowly, and then hopefully be in peak condition when it starts.
As you say, it's such a short period of time, but it's been a busy period as well. We'll start with the outgoings. I think there's been 9 so far, I think, with the 5 players who were released, and then obviously Cameron McGee and Jake Gray, Jack Marriott and Craig King. They were obviously players that, first of all, you were happy to let go, and then the deals that came up for the players to move on were right for the club, weren't they?
Yeah, look, the ones we sort of released were ones that we felt that we earmarked that we would probably move forward with others. But then the ones that came up in terms of Jake Gray, obviously we put on the transfers made available, not because we didn't think he was a good player, but because of his game time was more limited than he would have liked. So rather than hold him back or for him to feel frustrated for too long, we allowed him to move on. Now, the other 2 were offers we had from clubs. Now, we knew that we would get those offers, we knew we'd get the offers for Cameron, and that was earmarked. And when we spoke to Cameron and everything, we felt it was a good for him, and he felt exactly the same way. I mean, he loves Luton, we love Cameron. It's just he was right for both parties, and for us to take the club forward. Jack's was a little bit more less planned, if you like, because we had an opportunity to bring in Elliot Lee, but we had 4 strikers because we had already done a deal, but we just didn't announce it. So we knew that we had 4 of the best in the league, and then obviously Elliot came out. Now, to add Elliot to that very, very exclusive group would have caused me more problems than I needed. So then the deal for Jack came out. We weighed up both, and it just meant that we were able to bring him in and obviously make a financial gain in terms of selling Jack. So it was good for the club, because not just gives us money, but is able to put it back in, because that's what the board have done. They've put it back into the training ground, into the Brache, into the structure of the football club, and we're stronger for it.
We'll come on to the Brache in a minute, but we'll go through the incoming players who seems a long time ago now, but Alan McCormack kicked it off. What will Alan bring to the party?
It's important, because we tried to get Alan in January, in the January window, but it just wasn't quite conducive to do so. But we met him early, with obviously Brentford's permission. We met him early, and tried to sell the club what we do at the club, and to sell the club to him, to sell the project here. And what he'll bring is a real know-how, a real experience in there. He's very, very mobile, excellent in possession. So he fits all the boxes we tick here. Obviously, he's more of experience age, but we felt that that's what we lacked a little bit, and we tried to add that with the recruitment this year in our squad.
And Marek Sek obviously came next, at a good age at 27, experience, but as a goalkeeper, his best years still ahead of him.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he's still got plenty of development to go, in terms of everything that we do and the work we do here, Marek will improve and get better. We demand certain things from our goalkeepers here, and we believe that we've signed 2 good ones. But Marek was the original one. We earmarked getting a marquee one, if you like, that had decent pedigree, and obviously being at West Ham and playing in the Championship with Yeovil, and then obviously being at Sparta Prague was enough pedigree for us. The added bonus is I've known and played with Marek, so I know what type of character he is, I know what type of goalkeeper he is, and I said we're hoping to get the best out of him.
We'll go in chronological order. Jack Stacey was next. Obviously he impressed against us last year for Exeter. Come from a Championship club, but he's got knowledge of this division and played at Wembley in the playoff final.
Yeah, but look, I was aware of Jack 2 years ago. The season that I was at Brighton, we had a young players list and so on, and he was on my list then. As a young player, I wanted to watch and so on. In that time, he's obviously had loan spells and he did fantastically well at Exeter last year. So when it became available, when we had an opportunity to add him, then we didn't hesitate, and look, the deal, everything was agreed very, very quickly. Jack showed a desire to want to come here, which speaks volumes of the club. And then obviously when we met him and things, we were able to do the deal quite quickly. But he provides just stellar competition for James Justin, and we feel we have 2 of the best young right backs around. I mean, they're two wonderful young players.
Of course, JJ is going to have the boost of being with England for a long time this summer, and that's only going to help him, isn't it?
Well, we hope so. As I said, he picked up an injury where he's been away there, which we have to be careful about. But he's a wonderful young player. It's a great experience. We're proud of our internationals here. We have a couple, and we want more. We want more to break into that. And once they're in our first team, then said all that kind of exposure will give them opportunities. But JJ is a fantastic young player, a wonderful attitude, a wonderful ambassador for this football club and what we do, and we're really pleased that he went away with them.
Back to the signings, another one that impressed against us last year, James Collins from Crawley, 22 goals in a side that only narrowly avoided relegation. It's not bad, is it?
No, look, again, we were aware of him this time last year in terms of with bringing Danny Hilton in and with what we had. Obviously, it wasn't conducive to do it last year, so we had to wait a year to do him. And I said the club showed fantastic desire to get the thing done. They backed me in that. It took a while to do, and the boy showed real desire to want to come here as well, which was fantastic. But we feel he's an excellent signing to get the goals he did last year, but also the year before, and obviously prior to that he's been promoted. But you just see from training now that look, we've got a very important strike force.
It was a busy week last week, as well as James. We had Andrew Shinney come on a season-long loan from Birmingham, and obviously somebody you came across when you were at Brighton in the Championship.
Yeah. Myself and Joaquin sort of flagged him up for Brighton, to be honest with you, as a different number 10, something a little bit different to what we had at Brighton. So to be able to bring him to Luton is wonderful. As I said, there's a theme. We monitor players, we flag players up well early, and then when the right time to come, we try to get them. With Andrew, we feel he could be. If Andrew wants to really perform here, then he will, because he has wonderful ability. Technically very, very good. He's got good pedigree. He's experienced. He could prove a fantastic signing.
The second goalkeeper, you wanted competition, you wanted our own goalkeepers, and James Shea arrived on Monday. Been playing in League One with AFC Wimbledon, great pedigree at Arsenal, another great addition.
Yeah, and look, and again, one has done really well in training, but what we felt, we changed our policy a little bit. I mean, at every club I've been at, I've really bedded in young goalkeepers, or when I was at Yeovil, myself and the manager, we put a lot of faith in young goalkeepers, and had some fantastic ones. The attitude hasn't changed, but what we want to do is this time is make sure that and it's wrong to say beck and call or mercy of their parent club, because we are, but I don't think either of them did it sort of recall the goalkeepers sort of without thinking. They also the thought process by doing it. We didn't want to be in that position again, so we wanted our own strong number one, and then we also needed the dynamic to be right. So we were honest in our recruitment, and we spoke to a few goalkeepers. But when we spoke to James backs himself. He's going to provide, excellent competition for the number one jersey, and as I said, they are competing. There's no class, there's no order, and well, you've got to play. Whoever plays well plays. It's just that's what we've brought him in. But he comes with real good pedigree. Obviously been promoted to FC Wimbledon, played a lot of games last year in League One, so he fits the bill. And again, showed a lot of desire. So once we made contact and things, within 3 or 4 days we'd had him signed, and I don't think he looked back.
Finally, Elliot Lee has come from Barnsley, joining his brother Ollie here, and another major coup for the club, another player coming down from the second tier.
Yeah, and look, it goes to show again the ambition of our football club, but also the stature it's held within, because we've been able to attract that calibre of player. Now Elliot, once he became available, as we've explained with the Jack Marriott, with the scenario with Jack Marriott, once Elliot became available, he was someone that has been, we know of, none more so because he's been here before. But look, he provides a different test, a different kind of sort of player and characteristic to the ones we have here. So we feel we've got a real good blend. Now they'll have excellent competition up front, and there'll be a decision to make.
The one thing several of the players have got in common is that they've come from championship level, and the other thing that several of them have got in common is that they've won promotions either from this division or League One to get to that level. So was that a major thing for you as you went about your recruitment this season?
Well, we have a certain profile of player that we like to bring in, athletic, technically proficient, because we want to do that. And we'd like them to have played at the higher level. If we can recruit them from a higher level, then all well and good. But we have to remember that we are in League Two, competing in League Two, so we have to make sure that they're not only Championship sort of quality players, but they can actually handle League Two. Now we feel we've got a real good blend here, and a real good sort of balance within the squad of left footers, right footers, midfield players, attacking players, wide ones if we need them, front four plus backed up by Cookie as 5 front men that have wonderful quality. Defensively we're covered all over, so we feel we had a real good balance. And then obviously adding the second keeper, and we're looking to add a third as well, and one that we can develop and improve and so on. So the squad's in wonderful shape for this stage of pre-season. I couldn't be happier, and I thank the board for that, and especially Gary Sweet, obviously, who's my direct link with the board, because I have a fantastic relationship. And we sat down at the end of the season after the playoffs, and we were all disappointed, but it was right. How do we work? How do we get better? How do we go a minimum of one step, better, or one place higher in the league for next season? Because the ultimate goal is obviously promotion. But they've backed me fantastically. We've stayed within, we haven't gone gung-ho, but when I've needed a decision to be made and to be tough ones to be made, they've backed me in everything I've done. So look, I can't ask for any more than that, and they've been a wonderful board to work for since I've come in, and that hasn't changed right up to now.
We've also backed you with this place, the new training ground, the Brache, and I know when I've done my interviews with the new players, they've brought this place up themselves. It's been a great selling point for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, and look, it was a selling point why I came here as well. Gary had this vision, and they brought that forward because of the progress we've made. They brought that forward, but it's fantastic. I mean, it's there are championship clubs without this facility. It's a wonderful facility. The standard of pitches is Premier League. The standard of the 4G, the building we have here, the gym, the equipment now that we have. The areas we have to train on they're the highest level. They are as good as what I had at Brighton, and Brighton's training ground is top 5, top 6 in Britain. It's that good. But here we are on a slightly smaller scale than that. But that's what we're developing here, and it's a wonderful thing. And again, it sounds cliche to thanking the board, but the board have gone above and beyond and spent money, and that's why the deals for Cameron and the deals for Jack, they weren't just going into someone's pocket, or they weren't just going into buying new players. It was all put into the infrastructure of the club. Now the club is a stronger club. In a year and a half, praise the Lord, I've come here at a good time, because it's such a much stronger place now in terms of the infrastructure we have, the quality of players, the assets that we have within our first team squad and through the academy. It's a wonderful place.
I'll ask you about last night at Hitchin. Young side went there. Obviously, the first team squad perhaps not quite ready yet, bearing in mind that small gap we've had since the end of last season.
Yeah, look, it was penciled in as a first team game, but obviously with the extra sort of 10 days we went on in the playoffs, that meant that game then became too soon for us to be able to have a competitive fixture. So then the Bedford game became the first team one. So look, I would say we apologise for that, but that's nothing we could have done. And plus we sent a very strong young side to Hitchin last night, and that shows it was a very, very young side. Hitchin were started very, very well and were a real good test. And then once we freshened it up a little bit in the second half, our really, really young ones showed a real desire to go and do well, and it was an excellent game. It was a great pre-season game. I'm sure Hitchin sort of appreciated the test that we gave them. We certainly appreciated the test that they gave us, but it just goes to show that our young ones can compete now at other levels because of what we have here, the environment we have here. They're tough, they're ready to go, they want to work hard, and they take on sides, and that was evident to see. And I thought it was an excellent game. I really did. I thought Hitchin had a real good structure. They caused us problems with the shape they played, but as a physical outing, it was excellent. We didn't pick up any injuries, and then a lot of young players got game time, which they would never, they were nowhere near a short time ago.
On Saturday, well at Bedford, so we probably expect to see more of the first team, some of the new signings before the trip to Slovenia on Sunday.
Yeah, look, that's a first team fixture. Everyone will get game time from our squad. We've been fortunate enough only the ones that James Justin's still got a bit of fatigue from England, so he probably won't feature. And then obviously Hiltz is recovering nicely from his. So we'll be a real strong outfit on the weekend, and we're looking forward to the game, to getting back to it, and then obviously we'd like to stay injury free and to have had a real good workout, which takes us into a real important week in Slovenia.
What was the thinking behind Slovenia? Is that somewhere you've been before, or last year it was Hungary, wasn't it? And just another option that's come up with first class facilities.
I'd like to say so, just taking it off the European shopping list, but no, it's last year we had a fantastic facility in Hungary, and we picked it for the real. It was like St George's Park, Hungarian St George's Park. Pitches were fantastic. We had facilities, we had gym facilities. Everything was on site in terms of swimming pools to recover, the gym. And so on. You just felt last year the only thing we lacked was just a little bit of recreational things, so that the players after certain days went a bit stir crazy because they said it was on lockdown for that, and there was nowhere really for them to walk out, if you like. Obviously we had an excursion out to Budapest, which they enjoyed. So we wanted to go to a similar standard of place in terms of that. A few little tweaks, obviously, so we always try to improve on something. But then obviously there's a little sort of village close by which players can walk to for a coffee one afternoon or one early evening, and then obviously we have Maribor 2 kilometres away, so we can have a couple of sort of recreational excursions out, let them see a little bit of culture, maybe have a meal out and things. So it's a good place. It ticks a lot of boxes because it's not just about the training pitch. The most important thing is the training pitch. The second is the gym and the food and things like that. Then we look at the hotel facilities, and then after that we'd like them to have a little bit of a life experience when they do it as well. So we try to keep them on lockdown and train them as hard as we can, but we also like them to experience a bit as well.
And they get a bit of game time out there as well. Slovenian second division side FK Bravo, waiting in opposition.
Yeah, and I said it's a stern one. Last year we had Paxi, which was a stern test, very competitive stern test. And I said that was a good test for us. This year we've obviously reversed it slightly, that we play Bedford first, and So we'll be having a little bit more game time, then an extra week's training, and then we'll go into that game. So we're hoping to provide us with a test, because that's why we're out there.
And of course it all builds up to the start of the season, your old club Yeovil on the opening day, and what will hopefully be a massive season for the Hatters.
Yeah, that's the ambition. I'm sure everyone goes into it, in August. The ambition from everyone will be to have a good season and to be as productive and as successful as they possibly can. People's ambitions sort of differ as time goes on, but those August month is a real interesting one. I said we've got a very, very tough start against Yeovil, and I said it will be a very, very tough start at home, but we are at home, and then obviously leading into the Ipswich game as well. So look, we've got to make sure we have a good pre-season. We've got to make sure we're ready, and I said the important things are that we get everything in place and we remain injury free.
Thanks, Nathan.
Cheers, thank you.